All right. Hey, y'all. I am Coach Rashawn, and we have Coach Joy here and Coach Q. And we are your nutrition coaches here at the VFIT. So,
Listen, welcome, right? To our first podcast. Super excited about this.
Yes. And today we're going to be talking about eating healthy on a budget.
How many times have you heard someone say, I would eat healthy, but it's just so expensive?
oh, yeah, all the time.
To be honest with you, every time I hear that, because I hear it often, I
Mhm.
kind of cringe a little bit because would you much rather pay the doctor that money, or would you rather just buy it in food and not have to use the doctor?
There's a saying that you're either going to pay on the front end or pay on the back end,
Yeah.
but you're going to pay, right? So paying on the front end is going ahead and taking those extra steps, maybe a few extra dollars, right, to purchase those nutritious, healthy foods, balanced foods, versus paying on the back end after we created some issues for ourselves and having to go to the doctor and seek help. So we're going to show you some ways, right?
Yes.
Some tips to be able to eat balanced, healthy, nutritious without having to spend so much money.
So that takes us to tip number one, which is just planning your meals and making a shopping list. Coach Q, can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So me and my wife are really good about creating a note inside of our phone. We share it with each other so that when something goes on a grocery list, I see it, she sees it, and it makes it so much easier for us to go to the grocery store and shop whenever we need to go because we already know exactly what we need. So when you have a plan, you're good. But if you don't have a plan, just already a plan to fail, basically.
Right. What is that saying? Plan to fail. If you don't have
a plan,
Plan to fail. I really like what you said about you and your wife having a note that you share together, you're adding to the list. I think that's really important, especially if it's not just you that's eating the groceries, bringing your family, bringing your kids into the process, creating that list together, creating that menu together for the week so that we're not having to prepare multiple meals because everyone wants something different. So really great idea to make sure that you're bringing, whether you're using the notes in the phone. I usually use a whiteboard. I have a whiteboard on my refrigerator, and so my son writes his items as he eats them and runs out. He writes them on the whiteboard, and when it's time for me to go to the grocery store, I take those items and put it on my notes.
And I think another thing about being prepared and planning ahead is spending less time in the grocery store. I know for me, I'm always on the time crunch. So if I can have my list together, go inside, grab my items, and then that way, also too, I'm not picking up things I don't need.
Right.
Because that can happen. You get in the store, you're like, oh man, this looks like something I need, and you don't need it.
Is it on the list?
That part, right? You don't need it.
So you're also saving time and saving money.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
And it's almost like going to the store hungry.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
like that is the worst idea ever.
Sure.
Everything looks great. You can talk yourself into anything, but is it on that list?
No, it's not. Keep going.
I also want to encourage you all to look for recipes, right? Try something new. We have a lot of recipes on our website, TheVFit.com. Also, you can use Google. I used Google just this weekend. I said soup, vegetables, potatoes. And Google sent me back a list of recipes that had soup, vegetables, potatoes. So tell Google what you're looking for, what you want to include. I also like to put the word healthy in front of it. Healthy soups, vegetables. And then they'll give me different paleo options or vegan options, just options to take out some of that extra unhealthy fats and sodium. So,
Fillers.
yes, the fillers, right? So don't hesitate to look. I actually encourage you, right, to look for those recipes to add. And a little trick, when you look at the recipes, select jump to recipe and go down to the recipe,
yes.
and then select print. When you get to the print section, you can copy the list and add it to your notes in your phone. So it just makes it really easy just to copy that list and add it. So to your grocery.
That's a good point because then you kind of scroll past all of those.
The
all
notes,
the
the
suggestions,
suggestions,
So another thing on there, once you find that section where it says print jumped recipes, you can actually change the serving size. So if it's your family, you can do a serving size of 6. If it's just you and another person, you can change it to a serving size of
Now
2.
that I did not know. So I'm going to do that. I'm always just trying to figure it out in my head. I did not know. So great. See, I'm learning things too on this podcast. So that's the trick I'm going to do.
All right, so moving on to tip number 2, we have focused on cost-effective, nutrient-rich foods.
Okay, slow down. Cost-effective, nutrient-rich foods. I got that correct?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. I'm pretty sure everybody wants to know that too. But that is simply focusing on real whole foods, in my opinion. It's a matter of shopping on the outside aisles of the grocery store. That's typically where you find your produce, your proteins, and maybe a little bit of dairy as well, but mainly your things that you need for eating a little bit better, a little bit healthier, and doing things that you need to do to focus on your health.
Something I'd like to add to that too is when you get to your proteins, right? I know you all have noticed the price of meat has gone up really, really high.
Yeah.
So think about those other sources of protein that you can include, right? So you have your eggs, you have your legumes, you have your beans. You can do canned protein. Just last week, I wanted to make salmon burgers, and while I wanted some really fresh salmon, the week before I had fresh salmon, and it was super expensive. So we couldn't go that route again this week. So I used canned salmon, and I got wild caught, right? Canned salmon, and made my salmon patties.
Yes, and I love that those canned and those tuna packages.
Yes.
They are lifesavers for lunch
Yes.
and snacks and things like that. But you have to be careful even with those because they can have a lot of those little ingredients in there that have like
especially sodium.
Yes, 1,000 different letters in the word that we don't know how to pronounce. And
so when choosing that, we want to choose the ones that are in water.
In water.
Yes. Yeah. Season it yourself.
So what are you guys thinking about the ones that are seasoned?
Yeah,
teriyaki.
Season it yourself because that way you're able to control, right, the amount of preservatives, that sodium, the sugar that's being added in those seasonings, the flavorings, I guess. So season it yourself.
So what are your thoughts about frozen fruits and vegetables?
I love it. Yeah. It's a time saver. The key here, though, is when you're buying frozen, it should be, the thought process should be, if I thought, is it still in its whole form? So Coach Q talked about eating whole foods. If I thaw that bag of vegetables or if I thaw that bag of fruit, is it still in its whole form? Is it still a strawberry sitting in front of me? Is it still a green bean, right? If it is, then that is the route I want to go. Be careful of those stinky sauces. They like to put things in butter sauce or in a lemon garlic sauce.
Stir fries with the teriyaki.
Yes, leave it alone. Get pure form, straightforward vegetables, fruit, and season it yourself. I have a question. What do you all think about buying in bulk?
I love buying in bulk. Can I tackle this one?
Oh, yeah.
So I love buying in bulk. Me and my wife actually order our meats for the month, basically from a meat service. But we also still go to the grocery store and get some extra because that's not going to supply us everything. So what we typically do is we'll buy like ground turkey in bulk. They have like those 3 to 4 pound cases of it, and we'll just buy that. And also we'll try to find the large quantity of eggs and stuff like that too.
Fruits and vegetables in bulk?
I say yeah. I know for our family, we eat on it throughout the week. So we plan ahead, we portion it out, and for us, it works.
Well, I will say too, for those of you who is a household of 1 or 2, and you're thinking, I don't want to buy in bulk and waste food, with that protein or meats that you're purchasing, you can still buy in bulk, take it home, portion it out into single serving sizes, get the freezer Ziploc bags, quart Ziploc bags, write on it, right, that this is ground beef or ground turkey, the date, close it tight. I like to do saran wrap and then put it in the freezer bag and put it in the freezer. And then that way I can just pull out a portion or two as I need it. Tip 3, shop smart and compare prices. What does that mean to you?
So shopping smart and comparing prices. One thing that you guys can do is check the sales papers at whatever grocery store that you may go to. For your groceries, check the sales paper. What do they have on sale? What do they have in season? And kind of compare those prices and create that list.
What about you, Coach Kim?
I love couponing.
Okay.
This is going to sound weird coming from a guy, maybe. I don't know. But I enjoy couponing. I mean, I'll go through different grocery shopping apps and just see what they have as far as buy one, get ones, buy two, get ones. Be careful with those buy two.
Yeah, right.
So they'll get you. But for the most part, it is something that we do at our house to help us save money, because going to a grocery store can be expensive. But if you do it in a smart way, you can get out on the better end.
So something you said about that buy one, get one. So some of our grocery stores, check which one, but some of our grocery stores, when they have that buy one, get one, it doesn't mean you have to buy two. If you just buy one of the buy one, get one, it'll ring up as half the price. Okay, not the buy two, get one, but the buy one, get one, right? That does not mean you have to buy two if you don't need it, right? We're trying to save money. We're trying to be smart in our spending. So buy the one, and you'll see when you ring it up, it'll ring up for half the price. And something else that you said, Coach Rashawn, shopping in season. So produce truly doesn't grow year round, right? Not every single produce anyways. So look for those produces that are in season. So right now we're in the month of July, August. We're going into August now. What's in season? Well, what do you see a plethora of when you go into the grocery store? What are those fruits and vegetables that are on sale or they've taken down the price? I'm looking at peaches. A lot of peaches out right now, right? Cherries, those are in season right now. So take a look at that. Be observant. You can even use Google, what's in season, right? But you'll notice those are the produce that's going to be a little less priced, or the price is going to be lower than some of the other ones. So tend to shop in season. I know there are certain apples that I like. They're only grown a certain time of year. And when I do happen to come across them out of season, they're super expensive. Don't buy it then. But when they are in season, I'll stock up on them.
And even going back to what we talked about with tip 2, with having things that are nutrient rich. If it's in season, guess what? You're going to get more nutrients out of that because it's in season.
Right. They're not in the lab making it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, so as a recap, tips for shopping on a budget?
Yes. So tip number 1, plan your meals and create a shopping list.
And remember, if you don't have a plan to fail.
Yes. Tip 2?
Tip 2, focus on cost-effective, nutrient-rich foods.
Okay. And big takeaway from that is eat foods in its whole form. And tip 3, shop smart and compare prices. All right, so I think that's a wrap, right? Yes. Great job, you guys, on our first podcast. If you all have any additional questions or want to meet with us to talk about your nutrition, fitness, wellness goals, you can reach us at
wellness@TheVFit.com.
right? Or tap us on the shoulder. Tap us on the shoulder.
Always here. So yeah.
All right, till next time. Wait. Oh. Did you fall asleep?
Huh?
And it's rude.